Mm.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of MirrorWord Chats. This time I got me a Pellegrino. It's a little
Woohoo.
later in the day than a coffee chat, but I am joined today with Catherine Toon. You guys, say hello to Catherine.
Yay. Hello, everybody. So glad to be
Catherine,
on, Amy. This is so fun.
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
You look like you got your coffee cup though, but it's just fun to have a chat and connect with other
Yes.
people that are walking in this freedom of who we are in Christ, this finished
Oh,
work. And I was so excited when I put that comment out on who wants to do a chat, and I saw your name. I'm
mhm.
like, yay,
Yay.
Catherine!
How fun is that? Let's chat.
Let's chat. And I love to get to know somebody else, learn a little bit about who you are, what you're doing, and how people can connect with you.
Yay.
Yay. So, Catherine, tell me, where am I catching you at? Where are you at? You in Colorado?
Yeah, I'm in Colorado. I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So the foothills of Pikes Peak. And I've been here for actually for quite a while. I've lived a lot of different places. Just happy to be camped and not moving.
Man,
So done a lot of that. Yeah. So that's where I'm from.
great. Unlike what I'm literally going to be on the road all the time. But you know what, Brian
I
and I
know. It's so
are
exciting.
gaining this expansion of people to visit while we're on the road for a
Isn't
while.
that fun? Well, if you're in the area, come find me. It's
Okay.
just a thing.
If, it might be a little while before I'm comfortable with him venturing a 37-foot motor coach into the mountains, but let's see.
That's true.
I'm be like, no.
Yeah, that's
Right.
okay.
You know
Well,
what?
we
I have
are
to
foothills.
say, people, like this is a blank wall behind me now. So
Mhm.
because we're going to be moving in like a month, I'm selling things and my
Yeah.
cool moss wall art sold.
Wow.
Haven't-
Yeah, the big changes. That's so exciting, though.
But it's funny looking at a sage green plain wall behind me, but oh well. I'm
It's a pretty color. I like it.
it's a pity.
So you get to be the focal point.
That's right. Today
Yes.
I'm the focal point.
Yes.
But you guys, so Catherine, oh my gosh, you guys, as we are finding with these online community things that are growing, when we kind of step past our fear of, sometimes, not everybody, leaving local church or stepping
Mhm.
into a whole different way of doing that, we are invited in, though, to things like this, like with online connections, community, family that's growing beautifully. And even just seeing, like with Catherine, as soon as we had our first little exchange on Messenger, we've got common friends, we've got commonalities and things mixing over. And the type of work that you're doing. Tell us just a little bit about who you are, some of the things that you're up to.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So I haven't always followed Jesus, but I've had encounters pretty much my whole life with him. Didn't always know what all that was. And a lot of history just professionally went into medicine. So I actually practiced internal medicine for years. And then got uber burnt out because that wasn't really what I was called to do.
Yeah.
And then came home to raise my kids. I have three in their early to mid 20s. And then the Lord called me into ministry. And it's really funny because I came from a secular humanism background. We were very academic and that kind of thing. And because there was dysfunction in the family, the Lord had actually come in multiple encounters really to help my emotional health. And I didn't know how to follow it. I didn't know any of the stuff because I wasn't raised in the Christian thing. And then having gone to practice medicine and really pursuing the Lord at a later date. Was really kind of shocked that he actually called me into medicine. But it's interesting because we went from this secular humanism thing, which is its own religion in a
Okay.
very real sense, and encountering Jesus because that's what I needed for my emotional well-being. And then kind of being very angry at Jesus when everything in my life kind of fell apart. Um, and then sort of coming back to Jesus, and then kind of in the process of navigating all that, um, you know, started to get involved with different streams of Christianity and a lot of, unfortunately, the religious overtones that a lot of us are, either deconstructing from or healing from, that kind of thing, are growing up out of. And then really the Lord having worked in me, because intimacy was really the key that are not the true heart of God. And
Mm.
then, surprise, surprise, he called me into ministry. And I had worked with Shalisa Menes, which is a mutual friend, for a good 10 years and really invested in her. And then the Lord called me out my own. And that's kind of looking more at Mark, which is the fingerprint dealio there. Um, but, since then, there have been multiple other books, but doing a lot of coaching, particularly inner healing, prophetic coaching, speaking and teaching. And then at one point, he called me to launch my own podcast. I also run mentorship groups. So just a lot of different things that are sort of evolving
Okay.
as we grow, but it all stems out of this place of oneness with the God who is love, right? And so that is the place that heals. That's the place where everything springs from. That is an inclusive place for all humanity. And it's the place where we really get healed in our ability to see God rightly and then see ourselves in his image and likeness rightly. And out of that flows purpose. So that's a little bit about me. I have three kids that are mid to early to mid 20s. Some of them are still at home. And my husband and I, Brian, another Brian,
Okay.
have been married for 30 years and live in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So it's a little
Wow.
bit about me.
Oh, I love it. So many things. Like, so starting with medicine,
Hmm.
and then kind of going, okay, need to pull back,
Hmm.
raise the kids, do the things.
Yeah.
And then in that time, a real shift, right? How
Oh, yeah. A huge shift. I mean, it was funny because I always thought Christians were strange people.
you
And I
what?
was
Wait,
taught, I
I was
always
talking.
thought that Christians were strange people. Okay. So, and sometimes we are, it's just a thing. But everybody's kind of strange in their own way. But also learning the beauty of who we are
Mm,
and how we show up, whether we know Christ, whether we're awakened to Christ or not. But this is all humanity that is inclusive. And so, and how much God adores his kids and how much we look like him in our flavor. So, yeah.
mm.
Mhm.
That's, I love that so much. And you know what? Until we start to, for me anyway, like until we really start experiencing
Mhm.
who he is and how loved we are, how cherished we
Yeah.
are, marked by love,
Mhm.
you know, uniquely, and not just like taking it here, it becoming
Yeah.
who we are here,
Mhm.
then we can embrace, like for me, we can truly start to embrace that uniqueness,
Yeah.
that unique facet of the diamond that we are in our
Yeah.
unique expression, quirky, funny, serious,
Mhm.
playful, uh, extremely intellectually gifted, whatever it might be, athletic, artistic,
Mhm.
quiet, stay at home behind the scenes, whatever it might be, and to be able to embrace that rather than get into this place of competition
Oh,
that
yeah.
the world is so um, sure is required in
Yeah.
order to find our mark, to leave our mark.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and it's so true because um, as we start to recognize who we are and really encounter God as the person of love, because that heals all the places of insecurity, of not enough, of too much, of unworthy, of not lovable, of all the lies that we sort of collect in humanity through our experience. we're also able to recognize the beauty and value and glory of the one in front of us and are able to champion one another, right? Because so we're better together. This is where we link arms instead of trying to push my platform or push whatever it is that we're trying to do in order to be, because we don't think our being is enough, right? So we try to, and that's what kind of medicine was, because I had was brought up in a home where there was just a lot of damage. And I had mentioned that I'd encountered God at a very early age, but in that, I just learned the lie that, who you are is pretty worthless. So what you do is what matters. So you sort of, and so in my little 7-year-old brain, I said, well, dang, if what I, if it matters, if my worth and value and significance is based on what I do, I got to do the hardest thing that I can think of, which was being a physician. And so I fulfilled that. And I did that in a really star-spangled bannered way. I was really good, all the Ivy League, all the bells and whistles.
Yeah, I
But,
noticed that.
but
Dartmouth,
I,
Purdue, let's see, where else? Brown. I saw,
yeah,
I
yeah.
peeked at
You
your
you
Facebook.
look things up. I'm impressed. And so and it was good and it was value and I really did love my patients. And there is a resonance of it that was really in line with what God created me to do because I love people. I want to help people. And so and that was good, but that was not the arena that God chose. But God met me, as he does, he meets us where we're at and brings us forward into the purposes that he has, right? And it will look like something that's unique and fitting and life-giving. But ultimately, our contribution is actually more about who we are and how we show up. It's the manifestation of the sons and daughters of God that releases creation from its bondage. So you being you, Amy, in the glory of Amy, right, is as you're showing up as that is what releases something that's breathtaking and unique into the world and is healing the world. It's drawing it back to the person of Christ, even people that may not recognize that name and may not whatever. This is drawing it back to the one who loved them and gave themselves up for him and didn't ask their opinion, doesn't require them to jump through hoops to earn it. This is just the one who just adores us and wants relationship and wants that restored. And that releases the scene realm, that releases the cosmos from bondage. And so ultimately, it's us showing up as who we are. And because there's only one you, right? Well, we get to champion and celebrate one another because you being a more authentic version of you is a blessing that is gorgeous and only increases the water level for everybody. And then I can show up as me and there's no competition,
Oh,
right?
yes. The resonance in that is so deep. It's like we feel this. He just starts to reveal it as we come into agreement. Don't you think, like, as we come into
Yes.
agreement with this,
Yes.
as who we are, who we were created to be? And, I don't know about you. I'm going to assume this with the things that you're doing. I'm not to
Yeah.
make assumptions. Tell me if I'm not on track with
No,
this.
you go.
But
Just go ahead.
the way, like, I often come across people who are like, well, how do I do that? What's the process for this?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that is so unique to each of us.
Yeah. Exactly.
There isn't. We're moving out of the formulaic process
Oh, please. Yes.
and we are
It,
stepping into effortless ease in the beloved's
yes.
arms, right?
Yes, it's all about intimacy. It's all about intimacy. So, if Jesus is the way, the truth, the life, he's the way. Well, what does that look like to you in your journey coming from your story, coming from the good things that happened, the bad things that happened, the things that didn't happen that should have happened, all that. Um, and he meets us right where we're at in our process and brings us forth, but it's an overflow of this gorgeous relationship that he, and a lot of times that needs a lot of healing because if God was presented to you in a way that was angry and punishing and distant or whatever, or maybe not even presented to you that way, but if that's how you took in the world, took in your world, right? We project our histories onto God, and God is in the process of healing that so that we can see Him in the way that He truly is. And that heals our hearts and that releases us to be us, right? But He's so patient. And if God is love and the first attribute of love is patience, well, He's so patient with us. It's not like, okay, in order for, I could deal with you for about 3 months, but yeah, you got to get your crap together, right? And so,
Oh, yes. You're
right,
reading my mail. You're reading my mail, Catherine. Like I used to think that. I used to
right,
completely think that way.
yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I know, I know, I know.
Yeah. Well, if we're not adored in the midst of our mess, we're just not adored. It's not love. It's something else. It's performance, but we're adored right there. And in that, that frees us up to be the version of ourselves that God created, our original innocence, right? In the image and likeness of God. And that is, and then behavior falls into line,
Right.
right? But it's a byproduct, not the cost of admission. Yeah.
Absolutely. Not cleaning ourselves up to get
Yep.
to something. It's as
Exactly.
you are.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
show you who you really are. And that's
Yeah.
really a lot of what the Mirror Word Bible is, the
Oh,
reflection of
so
this is
good.
who you are.
Hmm.
Let's move in this. And then as we step into that place of going, oh my gosh, just as I am,
Yeah.
He's showing me, I see Him He's showing me myself of who I really am reflected in His face, in His eyes.
Hmm.
And then those, like you say, those behaviors, the things we call sin,
Hmm.
which is really just us, our symptoms of us walking outside of that blueprint, that forgotten
Exactly.
identity, that who we really always
Exact-
have been.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
such a gentle movement into this space. And I
Hmm.
want to circle back to something you said, Catherine, about like going, the Ivy League schools, the different things, the pick the career path at a younger age when you're not in that place of knowing foundationally who you are
Right.
and going, though this is how I have to earn my
Yeah.
way to
My worth and value, right? Yeah.
the law, whether it's following a Christian or
Yeah.
just the world's law,
Yeah. Exactly.
before we step into this place of freedom, grace, acceptance in the beloved,
Yeah.
we have identified that. And then, like I heard you say, He uses these things. And yet I'm even it goes, I just would love to open the conversation of, or is everything perfect at the time that it is? Any even, well, I don't want to say perfect. There are things we go through that we're like, there's nothing
Yeah.
perfect about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But and so it is Him using it.
Mhm.
But there's can be this point of us looking back and going, why did I do that? Or why did I
Yeah.
think that way?
Lots of regret.
But yet
Mhm.
it's like in order for me in my and oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like talk about walking outside, walking
Mhm.
outside of a purity in marriage,
Yeah.
20
Sure.
some years ago to
Sure.
yeah, going through cancer, going through great losses, different things, lots of times where I was a Christian, but I didn't understand, I didn't know anything about who I was. So but me being, well, over here, I can't get my fingers in the screen, making these choices and doing these things, but it has built compassion, it has
Yeah.
built
Oh,
understanding,
yeah.
it has allowed me to shift so much and heal so much, even though there's great pain,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to be like, part of who I am today did it have to be, just is because of those things.
And he's able to work it. I mean, God didn't send suffering, didn't send the things. He didn't send evil into the world, but where stuff happens, right? the stealing, killing, destroying of religion, that and just stuff happens in a fallen world.
Mhm.
Number one, he's there with it in the midst of it as co-suffering love, but he's also there to redeem it and make something so breathtaking and beautiful about that story. So as we yield to him as much as we're able at the moment, because it's an ongoing process, right? And so as much as we yield him, he's able to take that ground and turn it into something that's full of light, that's beautiful, that reflects him, and is part of the redemptive story that he's walking out relentlessly and wants us to partner with him in it, right? In bringing that to pass in our own lives and then in the lives of others.
Yeah.
And so we take these things that are shattered, dark, jacked up, twisted, evil, rebellious, whatever the things are, and then giving them to him to rewrite in that, and something breathtaking comes out the other side. And
Mhm.
only God can do that, but that comes out of that place of intimacy that we're yielding to him. And as the person of love, he's not into control.
Yeah.
He's not into pushing an agenda. He's there with us and wooing our hearts back into wholeness.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, every facet of our life
Hmm.
is so intricately woven into who we are, who we've always been, who we're unveiling the
Hmm.
reality of that.
Hmm.
It's so, and like I mentioned, people will so often say, "Well, what's the process of getting to that place of rest, or,
Hmm.
coming to peace with those things?"
Hmm. Hmm.
And I don't know. I would love to know what you say about that. What do you say to that?
I would say the process is, the sons of God, the mature sons and daughters of God are led by the Spirit of God. So what is God leading in that? Because it's going to look like wholeness. It's going to look like freedom. It's going to look like intimacy. It's going to ultimately look like, God, can I trust you here in this area of my pain? Past my defense, am I willing to lay down some defenses to allow you into that space to heal it? And then out of that place, lead me in making that very ground something that's now a glorified ground, and something that we use and partner with God to release something incredibly powerful, as we're walking this out in the redemptive purposes of God, for other people, not just for ourselves. And he's able to take all that. So what does that look like? It looks like you going inside where God resides, whether or not you said the magic prayer or not, where God resides, and engaging and walking this out in a journey. And so, God may lead some people into counseling, coaching, that kind of thing. Great. Some of it may just be, I need time to sequester with you. And there's different things at different periods of time. But this is us yielding to the one who loved us and gave himself up for us. And so we're learning constantly that he is trustworthy. I've got my little hand up,
I know.
that he is trustworthy. And that we can give him more in our more of our hearts, more space to move, and be who he is for us. So there is no formula, because formulas belie relationship. I don't approach you in friendship as, okay, so what are the three things that I need to say in order to be your friend? Okay. Well, God's a person, and he's the person of love, which means he's intrinsically relational, as is the very essence of his being is relational, because he's love. And so the essence of our being that resonates in that mirror image of him is the essence of love in multifaceted dimensions. And so, I just tell people, you look like God in your flavor. Of course you do, because that's how he created us. And so as that's being unveiled, healing comes.
Absolutely. So beautiful. And, like when you were just saying that about the relationship, I mean, I think Crowder talks about this in one of his books about, you know, when he was first falling in love with Lily, he didn't read a book about her.
Right.
He spent
Right.
time with
Exactly.
in conversation, in all the things that bring us into a deeper, intimate knowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, but, we can look at that, but then we do have to go back to, well, what feels safe? Because if the
Yeah.
image you hold of the Father
Mhm.
is that of the fear, the things we were talking
Right.
about, like
Mhm.
what are our experiences? What lens are we using to
Yeah.
see that?
Mhm.
We might be like, well, no, I'm not gonna be in conversation because all I project is condemnation, that I'm hearing him, in a voice that's not
Yeah.
what we know
Yeah.
now to be
Yeah.
true.
Right.
And so it's going back to, how do I know who I am in Christ? That the Father is good, that he's
Yeah.
not my projection from my
Yeah.
church experience, church
Yeah.
hurt, or my own earthly father experience,
Right.
or a combination thereof.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I don't know if you've got thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, because another so say the father's freaky to you, like you had a abusive father, okay, or an absent father.
Hmm.
It's going to be hard to go inside to relate to someone, to relate to a father, because that won't resonate, that won't feel
Yeah,
safe,
yeah.
or it won't even feel present, right? Because that still needs to be healed. But we have a Trinity that presents, I don't say itself because they're people self, um, in multiple dimensions. So maybe you can relate to Jesus as a friend or an elder brother. Maybe you can relate, or a bridegroom. Maybe you can relate to Holy Spirit as the mother heart of God. Or maybe you need something, maybe a little bit, maybe that's a little bit too, I don't know, religious or whatever. Maybe you need to relate to the divine or source. God is in you. And he's so humble. It's like, yeah, that works for me. I
Yes,
mean,
yes,
I've had, right? I've had, people that have just needed to engage with a cloud, or needed to engage with light, or needed to engage with like parts of creation that reflect God. So a horse or a lion or whatever. He's like, great, works for me,
yes,
because God is there for connection. And so what does your heart need?
yes,
Right now, he's constantly, when he's healing our perspective of who he is, or I would say who she is, because there's a femininity to God as well as a masculinity. I wrote a book on that. Um,
El Shaddai.
what is needed. Yeah, that works. I mean, I remember when I said the sinner's prayer, right? And my sinner's prayer really sucked. It was really, because I had gone through a long period of time where I'd had these encounters with God, but because my world spun out and really everything sort of came off its hinges. And so I was very angry at God. And I was basically like, well, if you're so good and you're so powerful, how can you let everything I care about be destroyed? And God didn't answer me. But what he did is hang with me in my kind of giving him the flying finger, right? He's hung with me. I have a chapter of that in my book called Annoying Relentless Love, because everywhere I turned, there he was. And I was like, I want to see you. I want to hear you, whatever. It's like, that's
Out of my
okay.
face. Out of my
Right,
face.
exactly. And I said, that's okay, honey. When you're ready, I'm here. Right. And there's something about his here-ness without an agenda, just to love me, that started to melt my heart. So by the time I realized that I couldn't barrel through in my own strength, couldn't barrel through in my own intellect, that I actually needed someone bigger than me. And that creaked open my heart enough. So when I said my sinner's prayer, it was something like, okay, Jesus, I'll do you a favor. I'll let you have me now. And
How kind of you.
God's response was like, perfect. And we'll deal with the pride issue later. Right.
Like,
So,
yeah.
right. But he's like, awesome. Give he whatever we give him to work with, any opening, any turn of an affection in his direction, he will use that. And I'm talking about people that maybe you've been following God your whole life, and get down with your bad self if you had that wisdom. But but we all have areas where we can be offended with God. A lot of times we need to forgive a sinless God, not because he sinned, but because it sure as heck felt like it. Where were you?
Yes.
What were you doing? Why, I prayed and they died, right? How could you let this happen? I mean, just look around the world, the problem of evil, right? And so it's because he's relational, this is us reconnecting on a relational way. Because if he can't answer that place in your heart that felt abandoned, that felt whatever, abused, that felt whatever, then he's a pretty puny God.
Mm.
And he's masterful and glorious and there to reach us in those places where we're projecting our damage onto him, but loving us in those places to bring that to wholeness. And that is a ongoing, that's part of the redemptive work of Christ, the apokatastasis, the redemption of all things, that he's bringing that our hearts are awakening to him at a deeper and deeper level. And just whatever opens up to him, he's just thrilled. You know, there are times when I go out my whole day and I'm doing a lot of good things for God. Okay. And I'll put my head down at the end of the day and I'll say, oh my God, God, I haven't like talked to you for me like one time. I just got up and went going and did all these good things. And his response, he's so gorgeous. He's the same. "Oh, I'm so happy we get to talk now. Even if it's 30 seconds before I, collapse, it's the affection of a heart turned to him because we have no idea the impact that we have on God. Okay. I mean, you've ravished my heart, right? He's undone. He's got a vulnerability to us that when we look his direction, when we creak open our hearts to his direction, whatever, it just, wait, yes, that's my son. That's my daughter. That's my bride. That's my sister. That's my friend. That's my brother. Um, you know, and that is where God, this is the reward of his suffering, right? Because it's relational and where it's increasing that intimacy where the source of everything is, where everything flows.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just life, and he's just all over that. Yeah.
Yes, he is. And I can feel it all over that, Catherine.
Yeah. Right.
It's like what you were saying about, him handling our, the heartache, the need for forgiveness,
Right.
whatever
Right.
you want to call it. What was coming up for me was just this opening of ourselves to ourselves in the same
Yeah.
process. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's us
Exactly.
hearing the depths of our own heart,
Yeah. Exactly.
where the things we wouldn't normally, I don't even want to call it normally, it's different for everybody, but depending
Right.
on where people are.
Normal for us.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm really feeling about him.
Right.
My deepest fear that I'm now facing and saying, I can't handle the way you handled that.
Yeah.
Or why the whys that everyone says don't ask, but yet if we don't ask them, we don't get beneath them.
Yeah. That's it.
And and at the same time, that that allows growth. Like if you think of a relationship between two friends, and when the relationship gets past the niceties of the weather, how's work, how are the kids, or whatever we think, and then we ask a hard question, or
Yep.
we're willing to put something there that
Right.
we realize could be rejected, but we say it in love, um, to deepen the
Yeah.
relationship,
Yeah.
to be more transparent, authentic.
Right.
And then the texts change, then the phone calls or the coffee talks change because we've now passed over a bridge or a threshold
Yes.
to,
Yeah.
I can trust you, you can trust me, I see you, you see me. And that intimacy that you're talking about, we have those one-on-one in the night or whenever it is, and the I'm just kind of rephrasing. I'm not trying to add anything. I'm just like,
No, I love it. This is great. This is meaty. This is
it's that pillow talk with him that then moves, and then like you said, it moves him to, he's ecstatic with the connection, the thank you, even though your day's gone on. And then as I don't even want to call it growing, we're continuing in our exploration of this intimacy.
mhm, mhm.
And we move into things like the mirror word, or
Yeah.
other conversations or podcasts,
Yeah.
quiet time, moving into meditative time and realizing that doesn't have to be a woo-woo thing. And it's stepping into union where that conversation then never ceases.
Yeah.
It is
Exactly.
oneness. It is interlocking breath by breath. And of course, we have times we step out, but
Mhm.
it becomes neural pathways that
Yeah.
are automatic.
That start to become default, right? So we're changing our defaults,
Mhm.
which are more in line with our original design, with who we've always been, right? And so as those default things, we show up more authentic. And it's beautiful because you don't have to work to be you. Now, there is work in overcoming the programs and brokenness and the defense mechanisms and the things we build up for ourselves. That there's work and cooperation in partnership with God in that, but showing up as you brings transformation. Like you shift things
Yes.
by showing up as you. Right. And it's the beauty. You're expressing the beauty, the mirroring the beauty of this God who is utterly breathtaking, and you reflect him in your flavor. And that is life. That is our greatest contribution. And then we get to do things in addition to that. But we get to do things as in the authenticity of who we are, realizing that we're being unveiled to ourselves more and more. So from that standpoint, it looks like growth, but it's there's a completeness. We're complete in Him, um, and we're reflecting that completeness more and more as God is sort of unveiling and stripping away everything that's not who we are. And it's glorious and it's fun.
It is. And before you mentioned Shalise Jimenez, and one of the things from her Emerge School of Transformation, and you do the 5 Qs or whatever,
Yep.
one of the statements in part of who I am, where I'm going,
Mhm.
I
Yep.
can't even recall exactly
How
what,
do I get there? Yeah.
but it
Hmm.
was that I was one who gave permission for people to be who they were created to be,
Yeah.
like giving permission. And I remember reading that back several years ago, going, I don't even think I know what that means, but I do. And the reality is, like what you're saying, we get to step into who we are, which inadvertently, effortlessly gives
Mhm.
people permission because they're like, well, what
Exactly.
makes you so free? Why are you laughing when no one else who's 58 is laughing at that SpongeBob
Right.
joke? Because I
Mhm.
think it's funny.
I think this is hysterical.
You
And
know?
even if you think I'm crazy, I'm having a great time. Why don't you come join me?
And that is that energetically shifts frequency all around us
Yeah,
for people to come into their own. It's that light
absolutely.
starts to burst out, and they go, I'm going to be who I always knew I was, but have put a lid on it all
Yeah,
my life.
yeah,
And then that's what's changing. It's flipping on the light to change darkness, not trying to fight darkness out. It just
exactly.
changes it effortlessly.
Exactly. Exactly. It displaces it. And so, absolutely. And it gives permission for people to be themselves and then also get to know and really love who they are. Because a lot of times in my journey, because there was so much shame, I was terrified. Like I thought I really, because she's got to be, because these evil things happen to me, there's got to be something so wrong with me, right? So what's wrong with me was like a big sort of subconscious mantra, as well as not enough. I mean, I had a bunch. Um, but and then engaging with this glorious, beautiful one, and him showing me to me. And it's like, oh, she's beautiful. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking around and I'm seeing others, and we're beautiful. We are powerful. We're amazing. And then we get to champion one another because there's no less than or greater than. It's all a release of what always has been, right? And it's God's passion. So we've got to love ourselves. This is a commandment. If a new commandment I give you that you love one another as I've loved you, right? And so if this is our commandment, this includes loving ourselves. This is also a response to God to love him back, but it all comes from being so deeply loved. Like it, when you know you're deeply loved in your most jacked up places, right? That gives you the freedom, that gives you the freedom to heal. But then you know you're loved because you weren't, suddenly the mask fell away, the defense mechanisms fell away, the performance falls away, the perfectionism falls away, all these different things that the hiding falls away, the shame is stripped off. And then you get to be you. And that's the most breathtaking presentation, your facet of God on the earth. You're mirroring God on the earth. And
Mm.
then we get to see that in one another and we get to fall in love with one another. And it's the way it was designed. And that's heaven on earth. That is the manifestation of heaven on earth. It's beautiful. Yeah.
I love it. And we're just raising our hands all day long. I'll see if I can get
It
my
is. I'm sorry. I'm a hand person. It's a thing. I had to make sure that like I had the thing, the microphone to one side because otherwise I'd keep on banging it.
banging it. I just have never seen it actually raise somebody's hand on the thing.
Yes. Well, it's that's Zoom. It will. There must be a setting not to do that, but we'll just be praising God the whole
I know.
time. It's just a thing.
Well, mine will do the thumbs up bubbles a lot, but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not
So
actually,
you're probably more like this,
I must be just, I don't
and
know.
I'm like this. It's
Oh,
just the uniqueness of expression on Zoom.
my gosh. This is just amazing. And, I mean, I could just talk all day about these things because, something that you just said about it's not a competition anymore. It's not about like these different platforms or these different things. I mean, that's why I can do this. Like I did say when I messaged you, I'm like, I got a little nervous when I did see all the things you've done, but it only lasts for about a minute.
I'm glad. Got over
Because,
that quick.
well, yeah, because I mean, he's just showing me it's like I didn't go looking to do podcasts. I just enjoy talking to people because what I love more than anything is seeing the commonality. And then, yes, we do that in this, but we
Mhm.
do it in the entire world. Everywhere I go,
Yeah.
I love to just see. I can't even help it anymore. Like it's just seeing the good in everybody.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some people that's more of a challenge than others, but
Mhm. Sometimes you see the good by faith for a
yeah,
little bit because how you're showing up is not pretty.
yeah.
Yeah.
And but all in all, this has just shifted for me, like over the last I don't know. I mean, sometimes I go 20 years, then I go 10, then I go 8, and then I go, well, really, the last two. It's changing all the time. I think
Right.
we could look back at this in 2 more years and go, man, it's changed a thousandfold since then.
Absolutely. I hope so.
But it's, where was I going with that? I had a point to it. I don't remember what it was right now. But other than really like seeing this shift. No, I lost it. It's gone. It's literally gone. I forgot where I was going with that. It'll come back in a minute.
Oh, it'll totally come back when your mind's on something else. But we were talking about commonalities, and we're talking about seeing kind of I don't think you use this language, but I don't remember the language you used. But the beauty in one another, so there is no competition.
Thank you.
So that we're growing, right? And this is, and I understand you were like, and growth is not, we're being unveiled. But, there's also a maturation process that is growth, right? Because, if we're maturing into the full stature of Christ, right? Being conformed into the image of Christ, there's so much imagery that God uses in our development process, in our journey, um, because each word captures a nuance of it, but then another word will capture a different nuance. And so, but if we're understanding that we're coming from the place of being complete in Him, that we're coming to the place of original innocence, mirror image of the one who created us in His image and likeness. If we're coming from that place, that means we're already accepted, we're already one, we're already chosen, we're already joined, and the way He sees us is without spot or blemish before Him in love. That's how He's seeing us. We are flawless because we're made by the flawless one, and we look just like Him. And so everything that looks pretty flawed that's being eroded away. That's being conformed into the image of Christ. There's growth there. There's being completed in the completion. And they're all process journey words, but we're so accepted and beloved right where we're at that it's safe. It's safe to be. I don't have to be something or show up as something to be accepted. Like I already am. So that also allows us to take risks and fall flat on our face and have it change nothing about who we are and our worth, value, significance, and contribution, because that was already established by the God who loved us and gave himself up for us.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It's, the picture that I'm just getting as you're talking is like being a toddler nestled in like the coziest teddy bear dad's arm as we're going through life. Like just held in, like nestling in. And so whatever's happening in the surrounding really is irrelevant to the physical, the emotional connection that says, this is my favorite kiddo right here. And so
Absolutely.
nothing's going to hurt her or
Exactly.
him.
Yeah.
And so as the world comes at us, uh, I feel like for so many years, into a very much into adulthood
Mhm.
and not even all that terribly long ago,
Mhm.
the feeling of it's up to me, I'm on my
Yep.
own, I've got
Yep.
to prove it and make my way. Even
Yep.
so, it's always efforting, striving, jockeying,
Yeah.
positioning.
Yeah.
And that's where the competition and that's where the threat of other people.
Exactly. Because there's some out fear that I'm not enough. So I got to prove it. Got to make it happen. Right? We're acting as if we're on our own, and we are alienated, but it's in our minds. And this is what he's trying to heal. And that's what he is healing, is the sense that I got to make it happen. I got to perform it. One of the things that helped me in my uber performance, messy perfectionism, so much stuff there. Um, was that honestly, I just got exhausted. Like,
Yeah.
that's exhausting. It is exhausting to have to do all the time in order to be valuable, in order to be significant, in order to be worth. That's exhausting, right? And I just got tired. I got tired. I wrote a chapter in my Mark by Love book called Freaky Rest, because the concept of rest was so freaky to me, because it required something that was very scary, which means trust. You can only, if you can't rest, if you can't trust that there's this huge, glorious person who's one with you, who's so for you, right? If God's for you, who can be against you? I mean, I can just see, like Paul looking around, like, what can be, God's for us, like, what can be against us, right? And so we're looking at that, and then you're looking that from that perspective, that heavenly perspective, and you're looking down at all the earthly things that you were sure would take you out, that you were sure, would have access or whatever. And truly, they just start to fade, because you're one with this one who is smitten with you and has is a source of all good things, and there's no lack in the kingdom. So what will he not do? He that spared not his son, how shall he freely not with it give us all things, right? He's giving us all things. And so there's nothing, he's all in and holding nothing back. So, right. And so as we're engaging, he gives us what we need as we need it, and helps us also plumb line the desires of our heart, the dreams that he placed in our hearts. It's like, yeah, honey, that was my idea. So let's walk this out together to manifest the beauty of that dream. And by the way, as you are developing kind of in your maturity, it's not all you just trying to, okay, God, what's your will and what's the next? It's like, well, Catherine, what do you think? Well, this is sounding pretty good. And he's like, brilliant, let's do that. Right? Because this is a partnership and a relationship, and he trusts his sons and daughters, as we're growing in our maturity, to make these decisions. So it's not the straight will of God that you're walking the line. No, it's like you've got a world of their boundaries because it's really good not to fall off cliffs, okay? But in the boundaries, there's a world of choice, and he values that. He values our humanity, and he values our hearts, and he values our choices, and he values the desires because guess what? He put them in there. So it's amazing what he trusts us with, and the risk that is on his part, because sometimes in our brokenness, we want things that are not good for us. And that's a healing issue, but God is able to even make that work out for our good and for the good of humanity. He's masterful at redeeming all the things. And so we can breathe, we can rest. The labor is to enter that rest, and everything that's, oh, I'm scared. Is he going to come through for me? Can I trust you here? And the answer is yes, one little step at a time. We can lean back and rest in the one that adores us, in the arms of that teddy bear dad. That is like, yeah, anything happening to my baby girl, my baby boy, right? They're going to have to come through me, and that's not going to go well for them, right? So, right, we can trust in the one that has all things, that's the source of all good things. And that brings tremendous freedom.
It is so beautiful, and it's simple. We're just kind of losing our minds. We kind of need to lose our minds.
Yes, yes, yes. We need to drop kick a lot of things in our minds, right? Right.
Oh my goodness. It just fills my heart. And, and I just sense so much of the presence of God just in these kind of conversations, in every conversation, whether it's speaking about him or not, but being able to not just speaking about him, but it's this experience. It's the encounter with the living God. Wow, we connect. We get to see, I'm encouraged by the things that you say and that you share and that you've experienced on this earth, and then you get to impart. And I know it's going to bless so many
And
other
I get to do the same with you. See, this is back and forth here, right? So, yeah, exactly.
continual,
Mm,
never-ending flow as
mhm.
we grow, as we just get to see him in each other,
It's
in the whole
beautiful.
world. It's such a beautiful thing.
Mm.
Gosh, for just kind of wrapping up time, tell me, is there like any books you've been reading? I know I want to put the information in the description of where people can reach you, find your stuff,
Mhm, mhm,
learn more about you, connect
mhm.
with you. Um, but anything you've been reading or
Yeah.
have that you would just like right now that you're like, oh my gosh, I want to tell people about this.
So I've got multiple books going on at the same time. The most recent one that I picked was a book by Morel called "And." It's beautiful. So there's that one, and then I'm blanking on her name. A book called "Beloved," and her name will come up to me in any minute now. Um, um, and there, I'm trying to remember. There's another one that I'm reading. I think it's called Overcoming Churchianity.
Okay.
And so that's a good one. So yeah, there's a lot. And so the Lord is kind of taking me back and forth, just feeding on the revelation that others have, right? And so yeah, so those are some of the books that I've been enjoying and partaking of because they're like meals,
Mhm.
right? And some of them are very different in flavor, but they're all sustenance because God is the word is speaking through them. Yeah. So,
So good. Well, those are great. I'll put those kinds of things in the notes for when this comes out. People can look you up, look up the things that you've been inspired by, and that's just how we keep growing. This family just keeps growing and expanding, and it's the whole world as our family. But as we're growing and learning and folks kind of stepping into some things, like I say, I don't like to really say it's deconstruction, but it's looking through a new lens of who he is and what
mhm.
those of us that are here know that we've known this. It's that inner knowing, that gnosko, that there is something so much more about who he is, who we are in him. And then from this point, we're just moving into endless opportunity for growth, for transformation, for transfiguration in who we are. So I love it.
Beautiful.
I'm
Okay. So
so
good.
excited to have spent this time with you. You guys, thanks for listening, for tuning in, for joining us for a little afternoon chat. We hope
Yeah.
that we know, I know that there's something in here for everyone. So, Catherine, thank you for joining us for the.
Well, it's been such an honor. It's been so much fun and it's just been yummy. Beautiful, precious time. So thank you.
You guys take care.
Thank you.